we speak about left and right brain. You're either a left or a right brain person. You're either in a creative or a corporate industry. You are either arts or sciences. Does that ring true with you guys? And I feel sometimes it's so divisive. Like if I'm an arty-farty, artsy person, then it means that I can't be corporate and I can't be scientific about something. So I have to be either or. And it's always really frustrated me. And I don't know if that's frustrated you, because as I've had to navigate and maneuver and find myself and my career post-university and so forth on the routes that a lot of you are on, as I've had to do that and grow, I found it really hard to bump up against these hard borders, where it feels like that fluidity is something that I've really needed. And that's really what I wanted to chat to you guys about. Isn't it you guys that it resonates with you as well? Like it's either or often, especially when we have to come to choosing our careers and paths. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, cool. I do want to encourage you to challenge the rules of tradition. I think definitely that's so important in our African context. Creative industries. And there are two ways to think about the word creative and industries. There's creative thinking about traditional industries, and then there's creative industries. Does it make sense, the definition between the two? Why is this so important? Traditional, corporate, successful, old-fashioned industries today, I believe, really need creative answers in order to innovate new ideas. Would you agree? And to make sense of the problems that they currently face. And also then, on the other hand, creatives more than ever need to see themselves as small businesses and be helped and be given the skills to package that creativity into a sellable product, whether that be the fashion design, the fine arts, the performing arts, whatever it may be, to learn how to see themselves not just as a vessel for someone else, or for someone else to give them work, but to package their talent into a product that you can trade on. How many people have told you, and seriously I want you to engage on this, that when they had to choose an undergrad, when they choose their degree when they started, they wanted to go and study dance or fine art, and their parents told them, you could do that after you got a serious degree.
I have actually
Yes.
suffered from that. I have actually gone through that.
Exactly. And what does that say? Who else? Who else knows people, yourself? Who is that person themselves? Yeah? Okay. And we all know those guys. We were like, gosh, you're incredible, you sing so well, you dance so well. What is it that you really want to do? Well, I really wanted to be a writer. Well, why aren't you a writer? Because my parents said, or whatever community I come from said that no, I must do a serious degree, so I've got to go study some law, I've got to go do some economics, and then I could come back to my arty-farty, silly dream. And it says so much about us as a society. I think from an individual level, it comes from parents wanting to make sure that you can eat one day. So that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And we understand where it comes from. So no one individual is here to blame. But it is definitely such a sad thing that it's become an actual real stigma. Would you agree? Yeah. I'm one of 4 girls, and I was raised by my father. My father was also a pastor. Okay, all 4 of myself, the 4 of us, my sisters and I, were very, very creative, very big personalities. It was a very loud house. There was never a dull moment. And looking back, I wish there were some more dull moments, really, because it was a really intense environment. We got a generous sort of share amongst ourselves of creative talent. So writing talent, musical, my twin sister is very musical, I'm the actress, and so forth, okay, between the 4 of us. But as my dad that headed up this circus troupe of ours, okay, this crazy creative family, was a pastor. With that came certain thinking around suffering for your art, similar to the way that people might suffer for their belief systems and their religion. It became a core value that, good people don't make money. That is also a sort of stigma, isn't it? That, when you're working for the community or you're doing something good, then that should be enough. You shouldn't actually be wealth creating. So it was a definite big block for me. Now, if you skip forward a few years with my creative talents tucked under my arm, I was lucky enough to go to UCT, to the University of Cape Town, and I did a theatre and performance degree for 4 years, and I loved it. So trained as an actor, right? It was immersive. It was complete. It was all about the craft. It was all about being an actor. It was all about character. It was all about movement. It was so gorgeous. And at the time, it's all I wanted. I wanted to learn exactly everything about Shakespeare, to Chekhov, to realism, to all of it. I wanted to understand how to be an actor. And that's what they focused on, is the theatre and the craft. And it was a wonderful, wonderful degree. But as the years went by, I realized that I didn't want it to end. So by third and fourth year, I was very anxious much of the time. And I think back now and I understand why. That although they were teaching us this beautiful, beautiful craft of the theatre itself, there was also really a dogma and a stigma around the department amongst students, but also sadly amongst the people who were educating us. And this was a while ago. I don't know how old I look, but anyway. But there was this stigma about the poor artist and the struggling artist and struggling for your craft. And things were actually said like, you would be lucky to get a job if you came out of university as an actor. Only 5% of people would make it as a star, be employed in a role. So there was never the idea that you could create your own work, that we shouldn't depend on getting any work, that we should really start diversifying and thinking about something else that we could do. And this was part of the message that we were receiving from the people who were teaching us the craft. And we were paying them to teach us. So now looking back, I realized that the one can't go without the other. And it's something that I'm definitely passionate about. I wish that our lecturers and professors also had a bit of that modern insight. I guess what we're talking about here now, the modern insight to teach you the craft of how to do the thing, the acting in this case, but then also how to think about yourself as a small business, how to package this passion of yours into a product. I was complaining about the schedule, and we did have a very rough schedule. It was a very intense degree. We were acting and rehearsing for our plays, and we also had to write essays and had a hectic academic curriculum to follow. And I complained about how tired we were and whatever, and she said we had no time for anything, and she said, don't worry, you'll be graduating soon and you'll go on holiday forever.
Wow.
And you'll never be as rich again, you'll never be as wealthy again as you are now. Here's me as a student, not able to afford a samosa. And she's saying to me, I'm never going to be as wealthy again. So the truth. But that's also like the problem with traditional education. Now looking back on that, first of all, it's a funny story because she did it over a dramatic cigarette. And she stayed over a coffee smoking with her red lips, telling me, that this would be the greatest thing my life ever amounted to. And I'm so glad for that. I'm so glad for that message, because she sticks with me sometimes. And she's like, you'll never be as wealthy as you are now. It sticks with me. It's something that motivates me. It's something that definitely changed me. So, did I escape the dogma?
Did you?
The indoctrination? The poor, struggling artist, do you think? And I definitely escaped that dogma. And I think that thinking, again, is the thing that you have to challenge first and foremost. Not just around the arts industries, but whatever industry. We all have like pre-set up ideas about what it means if I go into engineering, what it means if I go into a business degree, and what it means if I give up my financial freedom by going to study fashion. Will I ever eat again? Wait a minute. By choosing my passion in my life, the thing that I loved, I didn't sign up to be poor. I didn't sign my financial freedom away. I didn't sign my independence away. No one ever said choose between being an artist and being rich. No, I refused. At the time, I didn't see anyone else really doing it that way. So, some hectic paradigm shifting was required of me in a time when I didn't see a lot of people around me doing that. And I made some decisions, and I think it's very important to make some decisions, okay? And one of the first things I decided that everyone, including me, is entitled to wealth. That was a big decision, and I think it's a decision that you've got to watch out for your mantras, hey, with things you're thinking, because those will actually become your truth. Do you agree? Made that decision. I also decided that everyone, including myself, is entitled to create a legacy for my country, for my own children, something to inherit. Everyone is entitled to that, no matter what it is that you choose to do. Enterprises and empires are not just for men in suits, men, in suits. Both those things are carefully chosen. Do you hear me, girls? Enterprises and empires are not just for men in suits. And I decided that I will not be intimidated. And believe me, I was intimidated in environments of economists and like people in serious business. I was intimidated, but I decided not to be. I decided on those 4 things. And I feel that these are very important first steps, and the most of which is courage, right? Just to have the courage of your convictions and to make decisions. So a lot of times I speak to people and I say, what is it that you want? What is it that you want to do? What is it? And people go, I don't know, I need to figure it out. I do want to have my own business, but doing what? No, I want to have my own business, but doing what? If you've got that the opposite way around, you've got to find the passion part first. Who wants to work for themselves, by the way? Okay, cool. It's very hard, but more rewarding. It's both those things. That's how I experienced it. So I started with what I knew. And my first step was with a few friends, we created some theatre for children. And so we started knocking down some doors at schools and we got them to allow us to show the theatre to the children. That was our first step. But it only got me so far, and it didn't get me yet onto the front of the Forbes magazine. Not yet. But it was lots and lots of fun. So with that business hat in place, I started thinking about how can I differentiate. So a lot of my friends were also doing children's theatre, so that's what I had, that's how I could commodify it, but so a lot of other people were also doing this, and I thought, how can I be that one step different, okay? How can I differentiate even more? So the question here is, and this is really important to me, and I think you guys have all started answering it already. The question is not to ask, what makes me happy? Because a lot of times we hear, if you do what makes you happy, you'll never work a day in your life, right? I don't think that's enough. I really don't. I think what makes me happy changes every single day, every second day. It changes. Now this makes me happy and then it irritates me. So if I decided what makes me happy when I was 24, I'd be going crazy now. But what do I believe in? That's more important. What is it that you actually believe in? What's your fundamental principles in life that you live your life by? Because if you go by that and you're motivated by that, you'll be nurtured more than just financially. And when we go with what we believe in, this is important. When we go with what we believe in, we actually have a chance to affect change in the world. We really can make a difference when we do what it is that we believe in as opposed to what makes us happy. So I would challenge you to find what it is that you believe in. Let me illustrate. If a shoemaker makes shoes because they believe that an excellent shoe, right, is more comfortable, healthier in its support, and it's beautiful, so it makes the wearer happy. That's what they believe in. They believe that shoes should change your life. It should make you happy when you look at it. It should be comfortable. It should be good for your step. And they make the shoes from that belief. They will contribute to so many more happy feet. As opposed to the guy who decides, I'm going to go into shoes because that's a really lucrative market with big profit margins. So not only is the experience of the first shoemaker richer, but the first shoemaker is actually contributing to so many more happy feet. And in a small way, making their little corner of the world a better place to be. So from this existential question of how I could add value to the world, I then became a drama teacher at schools in South Africa, but also in the United Kingdom, at some schools and in some institutions. And because it's in these environments and in the working environment. So as I said, that was sort of my internship, is being in these education institutions. That's where we learn our philosophies and our beliefs. That's where it's sort of your niche and your product is formed. Okay, so for me, definitely it was in teaching. So I had to teach for a while. I had to be in schools in South Africa, and I was in schools in the UK, and I was working there. There were children who liked to sing and dance and act and play, and there were kids who didn't. And I had to teach them all. So that environment had to taught me that I had to find a way to break out of those traditional boxes that says that the arts is an extramural activity. You should do it after school. Remember, now I'm in the primary school environment. The boys should like to do sports and girls should like to dance, and only the silly, crazy, funny kids should like drama. I had to teach them all. I had to break down those boxes. Otherwise, I was going to go crazy, first of all. And by having to do that, I had to learn how important the arts were for every single kid, and that every single one of them benefited from being exposed to it. It was a wonderful discovery for me. I had this degree, I had this understanding of theatre and the arts, and then I had to teach in order to eat. And then when I was teaching, I understood that the arts is a tool. Performing and creative arts specifically at a young age for children is a tool. It's not an extra. It's not a fluffy thing. It's not an optional extra. It should be a part of all learning for all children. And so that was a big realization for me. My internship of life taught me the enormous value of the arts. And this happens in much the same way as a gym membership gives you access, right? So having this exposure, you know how a gym membership gives you access to a gym where there's machines that help you tone your bum and people that make you run to lose the calories, you know. In that same way, carefully structured performing arts programs becomes that gym for children. And what they get from that, okay, from this environment, this structured environment, is crucial social skills, communication skills, gross motor skills, confidence, creative thinking, problem solving. And people never think about the arts this way. They really don't. They see drama, singing, dancing as extras. But have you ever thought about it this way, guys? Without exposure to creative arts, where else are children going to get the opportunity to learn communication skills, confidence, making eye contact, speaking with one another, thinking creatively, building social skills, thinking outside the box, being innovative? It's the performing arts environment. So I found out what I believed in and how I could affect change in the world. And having a belief in what you do, as we've said, is going to help you out when things get tough as well, okay? And I created my baby. So my baby is called Buzz. It's my Buzz baby. I'll tell you a little bit about Buzz and how that all then comes back to what we've said. What is our promise as an organization? Thinking about everything I've shared with you guys, we have 4 pillars to the Buzz promise. And we live this starting with my employees, all of our staff, all of our team, our clients, and then of course the children. That's the most important thing. So mummies and daddies who pay the bills, but it's all about the kids. And the promise is to build confidence, boost social skills, be creative, get buzzing. That's the business. Build confidence, boost social skills, be creative, get buzzing. And we deliver that from the team to the client, to the wider community, and all the schools that we work in. So we know what it is that we believe and how we're going to make a positive contribution to the world, and from there it helps us package that product, as we've discussed, into something that is sellable, and we deliver it through that promise. So we do the build confidence, boost social skills, be creative, get buzzing through drama, dance and singing. It's a fully integrated curriculum where we use all 3 of those things together in workshops and programs, and we do it with thousands of children across the province, Gauteng, in Joburg, in South Africa. We have had thousands of clients over the 5 years. We employ dozens of people. I employ 50 people at the moment, and we've been really, really successful packaging that dream and that passion. And it all came from asking the question, what do you believe in, and how you can make the world a better place? And we have children who come to us from the ages to 3 to 13, okay, in those different age ranges. And one of the things, Nicole, that I wanted to share with you, as I mentioned before, is not only do we package this whole thing, drama, dance and singing, together in a unique curriculum, but we also create original music. So there's a whole package. It's so much fun. And who said that your work couldn't be lots of fun, right? Buzz is buzzing. It's really, really great. We create curriculum, characters, songs, poems, raps, and everything to go with, again, as you've discussed, Kevin, around how important it is our musical talents and packaging that for the world. I'm incredibly proud of our uniquely South African product that's available on iTunes, that we sell on iTunes. We make a podcast for children as well, of the little stories that they listen to. So mommy and daddy in the car on the way to school and back can also listen to our stories. So I really, on purpose, left this thing of how we actually sell it to the very end. But I think it's really important to understand how we got there. And I hope that kind of makes sense to you, to go from what it was that I was passionate about, and I studied that, and I loved it, but then I broke through the thing that was the challenge and all the limitations by asking what it is that I truly, truly believe could help affect change in the world and make it a better place. Breaking down the barrier that it's either corporate or creative industry, and then packaging it in a really fun way that actually makes me happy.
I'm a Persia with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries today. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today.